The images are dramatic. Arizona teachers with a powerful message, and they are delivering it in full force to our state lawmakers. Thanks for choosing us. This is a special hour-long edition of the Now at 4. I'm Faye Fredericks.
And I'm Katie Rammel. We have never seen anything like this before. Arizona teachers making history today in the first ever statewide walkout. Regardless of which side of the issue you fall, there is no denying this is a dramatic sight to see downtown. Scores of teachers and supporters in a sea of red, and they are demanding change. The teachers marching in the heat for miles from Chase Field to where they finished over at the state capitol. 50,000 people just wrapping up their rally, protesting what they say for teachers is low pay and inadequate school funding. You won't see better team coverage on this story anywhere in Arizona from all angles. Melissa Blasius taking action to hold the legislature and Governor Ducey accountable. Nick Saletti has more on why teachers felt this was the only way to get something done.
But let's start with ABC 15's Steve Irvin, who's been at the state capitol all day. And Steve, you were down there in the midst of those 50,000 teachers. What surprised you?
It surprised me just the sheer number of people. This is the most organized movement that I have seen down here, and I'm comparing this to protests that we've seen, for instance, with SB 1070 back in 2010. This was the most impressive demonstration that I've seen at the state capitol in 15 years of living here in Arizona. Much of that rally now packed up and gone home, and a couple of reasons for that. One was the heat, many people actually getting overwhelmed by the heat, but also because almost immediately as protesters arrived here at the state capitol, the legislature adjourned. The House and Senate both packing up, and they say they won't be back until Monday. Teachers say they're really just trying to get their message out here, both to lawmakers and to the public. They're not socialists. They're not trying to legalize marijuana. It's not really even about a raise. It's about the kids in Arizona schools and fixing problems that go back some 10 different years. But the burning question tonight is, what's the timeline for this? We know that teachers are walking off the job today and tomorrow, but what about next week and the week after? I put that question to one of the organizers of this rally.
I think it's going to be this weekend because we don't have time to spare, especially with things start moving in the legislature. We need to get organized and we need to sit down and have those conversations. So that's exactly what we're going to do.
Earlier, of course, you saw it all here on ABC 15 playing out live, Air 15, over some of these demonstrations, and just an unbelievable show of support for teachers. It's not just teachers out here, it's parents, it's kids that go to schools, it's a lot of concerned people who really want to fix our schools, and they say now is the time to do it. But really, that problem lies on the backs of the state legislature and the governor. ABC 15's Melissa Blasius was able to speak one-on-one with the governor today about the progress of his deal to try to get teachers a raise. Melissa, what do you say?
Well, first of all, he didn't have any new rabbit to pull out of his hat or anything. He continues to work on the proposal that he pitched 2 weeks ago. The governor trying to convince Arizonans that that is the best way to go here. He says that it is financially viable. That plan involves big raises for teachers. By the time they walk into a classroom in the fall 2020, they'll be making about 20% more, he says. He says this plan also includes $100 million this year and more in the years after that for additional assistance to schools to pay for support staff, raises, books, and other necessities. His biggest sell, though, is really convincing those legislators that there is enough money to do all this without raising taxes.
Arizona is among the fastest growing states, and our economy has been called the top 5 economy in America. It gives us the opportunity with additional supplemental tax dollars to give our teachers a 20% raise. The dollars are there.
And we learned just minutes ago, 10 people who came to the Capitol for the Red for Ed March got a chance to meet personally with the governor in his office this afternoon and talk about their concerns and listen to his plan. Guys, even if the governor can cobble together enough votes in the legislature, the state House and the state Senate, and at this point, those House votes are nowhere near guaranteed. In fact, there is not even a bill there yet for them to openly debate and discuss. Even if he can get all of that to happen, the votes, it does not necessarily mean that this teacher walkout is over, because his plan does not fully address all of their demands in the Red for Ed movement. Reporting live, Melissa Blasius, ABC 15 Arizona.
No, in fact, the plan really only addresses a raise, and it's actually about 5 different demands that teachers are asking for. Thanks so much, Melissa. Meantime, I talked with teachers from all over the state here, many of them driving hours to get here, from Kingman, from Flagstaff. All of them wanted to hear their voices heard. Some of them even came from districts where they still have schools open today, taking their own personal time off to be here at the Capitol. This message is critically important to them, and it's a frustrating issue for them because they feel so often people just haven't been able to listen. ABC 15's Nick Saletti has been with the teachers all day, getting their voices heard. Nick?
Today, who are hopeful that there can be some sort of a compromise soon, even if that means they don't get everything on that wish list. But one thing they know for sure is that 20% pay raise just to teachers is not going to cut it. We saw those teachers marching from Chase Field earlier today. It was a sea of red in those red shirts and those signs that also said Red for Ed. They wanted to make sure that they were able to make their point across loud and clear to Governor Doug Ducey. That clear message there that pay hike over the next 3 years is not going to be a deal for them. But these teachers say they're still worried because that doesn't change the fact that Arizona comes in dead last when it comes to per student spending. And they also wish that they could help out the support staff that help people in the classrooms. But still, I caught up with some people who wish they could be back teaching today.
I'm an English teacher, so math is not my strong point, but we had 5 different requests or demands, and he met half of one of them, so that's about 10%.
We could have honored our word, finished our contracts, and we could have carried this fight on over the summer, and we wouldn't have affected the families and the kids who they can't do anything about this.
And that teacher you just heard from says he's been able to raise his salary some 30% by getting a master's and switching districts, something he encourages other teachers to do. Now, we know that those parents, those teachers, those students are going to be back here at the Capitol tomorrow because, Steve, right now, there is no end in sight. We're live here in front of the Capitol. Nick Saletti, ABC 15, Arizona.
And Nick, one of the reasons there is no end in sight is because there has been no formal negotiation with the leaders of the AEA, the Arizona Education Association, and Arizona Educators United, the 2 main groups that are organizing this rally. The hope here is that they can get what they call a seat at the table, that they can get negotiations going and strike some bargain with the governor and legislative leaders. But so far, no sign of that. Guys?
Yeah, and everybody's looking for some sort of sign. I mean, we're all parents and we're wondering how much longer will the walkout last as well. We know teachers are planning to be at the Capitol again tomorrow. Yeah, we will be watching and we will be covering it all for you. But this afternoon, at least one district says they'll be back in the classroom come Monday, even without a deal. Chandler Unified says based on a poll taken by their certified teachers and support staff, they will reopen to students on Monday. That district says about 75% voted in favor of returning to work. And